just want to jump on here real quick to encourage people that when you see something in somebody, encourage it, speak life to that. And you may not see it come to fruition right away, but just keep believing that your seed, or you are watering a seed that's already there. And just know that someday, somehow, you can contribute or know that you helped that come forth because you spoke life. You didn't hold your words. Speak life, water it, and watch it come to work. Fast forward a couple years later, I run into Miss Jeanette Gregory Tyson, who is a self-published author herself. And she says, you have awesome work. You need to get published. And I was like, I remember putting the book together. I remember her giving me the quote for the book. But I was like, I don't know if I can do all this. So again, the seed was planted. And matter of fact, I don't want to say the seed was planted. The seed was planted when I started writing in 1991, 1992. And if you notice anything about trees, anything about plants, they don't spring up overnight. It takes a while for them to grow. So, but then it was watered by Jeanette Gregory in 2001, 2000, around that time. And then started again 2008. It was watered again by Yvonne and Jessica. Again, these are girls who, this is our 10-year high school reunion, and they remember the stories that I wrote in 7th, 8th grade. Come on, y'all. It just hit me like, this is not where I expected my life to be, y'all. This is like, when I say where I am now, like if you would have asked me when I was writing the novels at age 12 and 13, would I be looking at my novel in my own library among other books? I couldn't tell you that. And that's so crazy to me. It says of reorganizing my bookshelf again. I know I have a problem. Leave me alone. But for some reason, I have like my YA middle grade novels books separate from my adults, and I'm realizing it's not utilizing my space correctly. But while I'm putting together my bookshelf, what I do sometimes when I have a live or when I decide I want to go on a podcast in my desk, in my area, I make sure if I'm back here, my books are somewhere on the shelf where people can see it. That's customary marketing. Anyone who has books, any type of material, any type of thing you have should be in the view where people can see it. That I did not see myself as a published author, even though I was an author. That's mind-boggling. I'm going somewhere with this. So again, for those who don't know my story, I started writing poetry. I said at age 12, it was really age 11 because I have a late birthday and my birthday's in September. And I remember specifically being in an English teacher's class, Miss Dunlap. That was my 6th grade ELA teacher. So I was definitely 11 years old, not 12 when I started writing poetry in her class and got in trouble for it. I should have been doing work, but she was boring. So started writing poetry, and then somehow between 6th grade and 7th grade, shifted into writing fiction. So started writing poetry in the 6th grade, still writing poetry in 7th grade, but then I started writing books. Like literally me and another young lady would write each other's story, would finish each other's story in the 7th grade. But if you were to ask me what I want to do when I grew up, at the time when I was in middle school, I either saw myself as a lawyer or an engineer. Why engineer? Because my dad was an engineer. Then I realized I didn't really want to be an engineer. So around junior year, when I moved here in Columbia, South Carolina, I remember I was like a guest writer for the newspaper staff. I joined the creative writing class, joined journalism, and then as a result, I realized this is what I want to do. I want to do journalism. Mind you, I'd already written 2 novellas, novels, whatever you want to call it, by this time, if not 3. I want to say I was working on the 3rd one by the time we moved to Columbia, South Carolina, 1996. Still didn't see myself as a published author, but I saw myself writing as a career. So I saw myself being the editor-in-chief of Essence. And so when I went to Winthrop, let me go back. I did a yearbook staff, and then I was part of, what was it called? It was like a district-wide. And what I mean by district, it wasn't just Richland 2. It was all the Lexington school districts, Richland 1, Richland 2, they had a newspaper. And they basically, I was one of the writers. So I saw myself doing mass communications went to Winthrop. Then I realized, you know what? I could not ignore my love for children. So I switched my major from mass communications to English. Didn't even come out with the education degree because I couldn't get into the College of Ed because I partied a little too hard my freshman year. And I couldn't get my GPA up. But I did what was called, it used to be called PACE here in South Carolina. Hey, Adrian. And it was called lateral entry in North Carolina, where I was able to get my certification. They would analyze your transcript, tell you what you needed to do, and then you would get certified that way, which I totally support. But the more work you have in that area, the less work you have to do. Let me say that. But let's backtrack from me being a teacher. For me switching my major to journalism, I was still writing. I wasn't still writing fiction. I was still writing poetry, and I stopped writing fiction because I took a creative writing course at Winthrop University, and instead of me taking the criticism as criticism, I took it as, you're not good at this, you need to stop. APAC, okay, so they changed the name of it because someone I know I went to school with, she's part of that program at USC. So we turned around. The point I'm trying to make, and that was the title of this live, put the seed out there. Like, if you see something in someone, tell them even though you don't think they're going to receive it. So again, I did not see myself publishing, even though, again, y'all, by the time I was a senior in high school, I already written 3 books. And what I mean by books, I would write them out on college rule paper, put them in a binder. That was my book. That I was writing books. I can tell you the storyline of all 3 of them if I want to take the time to do that. One, I'm not going to tell y'all because I'm definitely going to recreate that one. I wrote that one in 7th grade or 8th, was it 8th grade? Because it got confiscated when I was in 8th grade. Yeah. That's another story for another day. So mind you, despite the fact that I had wrote 3 books, I never saw myself publishing. Then when Ms. Jeanette Gregory dropped the seed for me to publish, I started thinking about it. Fast forward from there, that was in 2000, maybe 2001. 2008, I have a class reunion. And if those of you who have not already purchased, which they are available now, if you have not already purchased Reverse, which is a middle grade novel, it is dedicated to Yvonne and Jessica. Yvonne and Jessica went to middle school with me, and they were the ones in 2008 when we were at our class year 10 reunion for Sumter High and said, Ryan, whatever happened to those books you used to write? Now, mind you, I was still writing poetry, had not started writing poetry. Matter of fact, I had the poetry anthology I was going to publish just sitting in a binder somewhere because I never got around to publishing it. And that's when I picked up my pen again and started writing fiction. And within 2008, between 2008 and 2014, that's when Boomerang, which turned into Reverse, was born. Come on, y'all. So then you have from there, I just had to keep going. So for those of you who don't know my journey, I wanted to publish. I really wanted to go through a publisher. And that's when I learned you don't go directly to the publisher. You could get a literary agent. And then from there, they will shop out your work. Well, I knew someone recommended me to what is called a manuscript editor. Like, they evaluate your manuscript. I did not have $1,500 to pay that person. So decided to try to self-publish it myself. Me and the editor at the time, a sister of mine, it didn't work out because she was transitioning professionally and it just was not working out. So then I kept working on it, kept writing, kept working on it. And then I don't even know how I stumbled across the editor that I have now. Excuse me. Her name is Megan Joseph from Joseph Editorial Services. She is on Instagram and Facebook. And it's happened ever since. So we go from not even seeing myself publishing as a child to now I'm about to have a total of 6 books. That's awesome sauce.